Every coffee needs a lotus.
And welcome back to Ma'am Jasmine Liew's webinar on cultivating psychology safety for your virtual teams during difficult times. This has been powered by Ariva Academy, and this is part of our way. The program support our frontliners, our way of helping during COVID-19. Learn and share. This is the call of the moment. We gave back something to you. We have been giving back since early April. Now it's already June. We'll do this till July. And you can pay it forward for receiving something for free while you gain access to all our live webinar series for a cause. You may donate an amount to help families in distress. If you have 100 pesos or 200 or 1,000 or 10,000, depending on what you can afford and how generous your heart is. Together, let's show our support to our fellow Filipinos who are in survival mode. During this difficult time of the global health crisis, this is in partnership with Ariva Foundation, Ariva Achievers Foundation, Bayanihan Act 2020, and the Bayan ng Mahayhay. So click on the link, ariva.com.ph/donation, and let's change lives. Again, thank you, Ma'am Jasmine, for doing this and saying yes to our request to facilitate a webinar.
Thanks to the audience from Philippines and people from Singapore and different parts of the world.
Globally, we are being watched. Thank you for our viewers and participants. And thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. At this moment, I'd like to greet our Philippine participants from Aklan, Bacolod, Baguio, Batangas, Bulacan, Cagayan de Oro, Cavite, Cebu, Daet, Camarines Norte, Davao City, General Santos City, Iligan City, Iloilo, La Union, Laguna, Legazpi, Nueva Ecija, Pampanga, Pangasinan, Quezon Province, Rizal Province, Tarlac, Tuguegarao, Valencia, and NCR. We have hundreds and thousands of fans all over the world, Ma'am Jasmine.
Yes.
Are you ready now?
8 people. Yeah, I have 3 questions already on the Q&A. Shall I address them now?
We'll be reminding them of the Q&A mechanics.
Yes.
So for our participants who'd like to ask your question, type in your question not at the chat box, but at the Q&A box. We have plenty of time to accommodate your questions.
That's right. In fact, there are 3 questions now. Joel, do you want me to address the questions?
Sure, ma'am. But we also would like to encourage our YouTube live stream participants to type in their question. And at the same time, we also have the present question you received early this morning.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start off with a Q&A box. The first question from an anonymous attendee. Can I read this for you, Ma'am Jasmine?
Yeah, sure. You can read to me.
How do you promote psychological safety in the office?
Right. So I believe this is not the virtual space, but in the physical office. So one example is to share about why is psychology safety important for the organization. I've shown you examples of how does it lead to high performing teams where members and team members feel safe to ask questions, share ideas, and most important, problems they face. Actually, there's a saying in Chinese, also in English, which is failure is the mother of success.
Wow, I like that.
Is the mother of success, because we should not hide or keep our problems to ourselves. It's for the learning purpose and improvement prevention purpose. So psychology is very key at this critical time. Even now in COVID-19, we do not have the answers. When will this end? And what is the solution? We just have to go with the flow. So the more we need in the organizations to create that safety for people to share and up level the organization innovation. The next thing, of course, through the safety domains is ability for us to share our brain preference. As you can see, we all crave for safety, part of neuroscience research. Social pain and physical pain is the same. Social rejection, right, is the same. It is imprint in our brain. So from that conversation showing our safety domains, it's a safe conversation. It's about interpersonal risk-taking that we all prefer different things, just like different foods that we eat. And that will help each of us to have a better understanding, prevent miscommunication between leaders and their team members. So I've answered that broad question of how do you promote psychological safety. First, shows what is psychological safety in the workplace, how does it help in teams and organization, and of course, doing the profiling gets to know your preferences. Okay, so I've answered live.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Jasmine.
Yeah.
Now, Ma'am Jasmine, I have received a message from my own personal messenger. Just to clarify, you don't have to be a psychologist to promote psychological safety. Am I correct?
That's right, because a lot of people mistreat psychological safety as mental wellness. So you notice that I spent quite a fair bit in the earlier part to talk about why psychological safety, right? And you also link back to employee engagement, the 3 conditions where we feel that we are leading a meaningful job that can contribute, and we feel safe to do our best. So that's one of the 2 conditions. The psychological safety has linkages to neuroscience. I'm not a neuroscientist, but from the certification program that I took, and currently I'm the only Asia participant and certified in this program, I found that, wow, actually neuroscience has lots of things to talk about psychological safety. So it doesn't refer to psychology. So that's why the clarification is done in the first start of the slides as well. Yeah. Do you want me to answer the
Jasmine?
question?
Okay, the second question, I'll read it for you and then you will answer this. Elvira Garcia. Thank you, Ma'am Elvira, for the question. For Ms. Liew, what advice can you give for the team members who have stopped communicating to their boss or stopped giving ideas because the new boss only listens to himself? This is a group of executives, and their owner hired a new GM a few months back. The executives used to directly report to their owner.
Sure.
Thank you, Ma'am Elvira.
Yes. So this shows that there's no psychological safety at all. The team members don't want to give ideas or do not want to communicate. Right. So this new boss, perhaps.
So this new boss is an outsider.
Yeah. Perhaps he has lack of self-awareness. Maybe you can, from what I shared about safety, perhaps you can also make some guess that which is his safety domain. Is he more on security? Because security people, they may want something that is more certain, right? Self-awareness is key as a leader. So most of the time, I coach leaders because leaders may have blind spots and they do not know what they do not know, or they're very used to the comfort zone that they used to be where they are leading. So they must bring back the past leadership style or the comfort zone to lead the team. And I felt that this is an important conversation, but is the team ready to take the interpersonal risk-taking to connect with this new boss? Or is there another way to give feedback? I think feedback is gift, right? So we can have positive feedback, but of course, when we have a communication with the GM, be candid and also share constructive feedback on what can be done better. So I thought this shows there's psychological unsafety, right? So that is how team members maybe have to find out. Sometimes I look at myself as an employee before. I do have leaders who may not be so inspiring, but I look at the leaders and ask myself, what is good about the leader?
Yes.
Can I learn from the leader? Because not everybody is perfect, not even us, right? So what is good about this leader that I do not have and I can learn from? And I think seeing the leader from a more positive angle will build connections. But I think you can share about the safety domains. I think that is a good start to perhaps there's one domain that is very, very firm about it. You feel very safe. And that's why you find that there seems to be some kind of disconnect and you feel unsafe to speak up. So that's my question for this participant.
Thank you, Jasmine. And if I may ask, will it also be okay if the new GM never listens to the other executives? Can the executives give an honest feedback to the company owner?
It's really depending on the maturity of the organization. Sometimes we do
Okay.
that in employee engagement survey results, whereby it's anonymous. And when I was in HR, I used to drive the employee engagement results. We look at organization development plans. We do see some toxic department and some toxic leaders from the survey results. And very apparent is the quality statements, the written statements. But what we do is really take it at a very neutral, fairness, right? So we also talk to the leader to understand more about.
Okay, great. That's great.
As I mentioned, leaders may not know about their blind spots. They could be very one direction, but leadership nowadays, we talk about 360 feedback. So whether it's but I felt that first build that trust with the leader first, build that connection, and perhaps that will help you to give that feedback easily. Or you can start with praise first. Praise and then what you can do better and you can mention to the leader what you can improve or do better as a form of feedback.
Thank you, Jasmine. I'd like to remind all of our Zoom participants to type in your question at the Q&A box because I've been seeing some questions being typed at the chat box. And Ma'am Jasmine, to be fair to our participants who present their questions early on, I'll be reading the first question in our list. Joan Ricote is asking, as a health worker, what are the things we must do to avoid being stressed with the current situation, GCQ, or the lifting of the quarantine, not really the enhanced quarantine, but we're still being, as people and workers under general quarantine, we are now required to report to work more often than we were before. So how can they be safe when they are, as health workers, every day exposed to COVID-19?
All right. Healthcare is something very passionate in my heart. I used to work in a hospital and I do train a lot of healthcare professionals as well and nurses. Yeah. So I think the first thing is healthcare really lacks self-care.
Self-care, it's
very
true.
burnout. It's a burnout profession. Today I just read a newspaper in Singapore asking about the healthcare professionals, the nurses, how are they feeling? They are very burnout in terms of manpower shortage, huge manpower shortage. And the worst is the public are actually avoiding them. The public looks down on the healthcare professionals, thinking that they're dirty, they have the virus with them, and they're very rude to the healthcare professionals. I think that is very, very bad. So maybe I talk about the workplace context, but society really differs. As I mentioned, I can't talk about safety precautions in terms of preventing yourself from facing this COVID-19 and ensure that sanitation is there. But I think as a healthcare professional, if you felt that more things can be done in terms of the safety measures to keep yourself safe while serving at the front line for the patients, it's important to speak up. As I mentioned, that safety is one of the basic fundamental of humans' needs. Right? You talk about other needs, safety is the first thing. So talk to the supervisor that I felt more things can be done, or there's some inadequate resources that to ensure our safety. The next, of course, the mental stress is really there. I think as healthcare professional, I really salute you. When you face the patients, you have to put up a very strong front that you are helping and serving, but deep down you're very tired, you get burnt out, and perhaps you may even feel unappreciated. So I think the community that can help you the most is the people around you in the hospital, which is the leaders provide psychological safety for you to share your problems, your concerns, and not being judged for speaking up. I think that really gives us the assurance that I have a voice, right? I can be at my best. Or perhaps from the safety domains angle, some healthcare professionals may think that I prefer my boss to give me autonomy because autonomy is my preference. When my boss asks me a lot of details, micromanaging me, does not trust me, it gives me more stress, right? And maybe for some of you as healthcare professionals who are concerned about security, maybe that certainty, the kind of clarity and regular communications from your leader helps. So actually, safety domains can be applied to any industry, any occupations. Of course, that would change in the context of what you're doing. Yeah. So I have mentioned that and talking about the need to speak up is one way to avoid stress and burnout. Yeah.
Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. Anonymous attendee is asking you, is psychological safety a way to develop assertiveness?
That's right, because you dare to take out the risk to speak up. You're not fearful of being judged or reprimanded or scolded. I think that really takes a lot of courage. Remember the story about this in Denmark? Maybe you heard about the emperor with no clothes. Yeah, the emperor is a very arrogant emperor. He thought he was wearing a very expensive, priceless coat, but actually he was wearing nothing. But throughout the whole parade, all the citizens dare not say anything, but they were all congratulating him and saying, wow, what a very gorgeous coat you're wearing. It's priceless. It's the most beautiful one I've never seen. Until what happened? Until a young boy who dared to speak up and say, the emperor is not wearing any clothes. Right? So why are people feeling so unsafe? Because perhaps of past experience or current experience where when you speak up, the leader is very judgmental.
Yes.
Leader do not value it. So I think this psychology safety has a lot to do with leadership awareness, change, and also the culture. Yeah, and we have seen more younger generation coming. I think for the Philippines as well, the young generation, the millennials, like my kid, who is a Gen Z, in school, they speak up, they ask questions, they assert their viewpoints. So psychology safety is here to stay, and even more as we have newcomers and younger generation coming to work. Yeah. So I've answered that questions on a way to develop assertiveness.
Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. Another anonymous attendee is asking you, in our corporate setting, we have low scores in team collaboration. Listening to you now, perhaps psychological safety is a factor. As you suggested, all team members have different personalities and different score in the safety area. What practical steps should the team take to learn to collaborate with each other and make things work? Thanks, and I learned so much from you this afternoon.
Thank you. Yes. So actually, a lot of times collaboration fails because we do not trust each other, and we get very upset that why are you like giving me a hard time? For instance, someone who has very high security, right, in a team may be very uncooperative and resist change, and the one with high autonomy may a lot of times don't tell you what they're doing because they like to have their own freedom. And the one with high fairness may also expect a lot of decision making to be done thoroughly, taking into many considerations and include everyone. And the one with trust means that we actually build relationship well. So you're right. One of the key reasons for lack of collaboration is perhaps we don't feel safe to collaborate because there is no sense of purpose to work together. Physical, superficial, yes, transactional, but not deep. not transformational. We need to move from transactional, being asked to do because it's part of the role and being ordered in the hierarchy, to transformational. So with this safety domains, bringing out to share, as I mentioned, it's not about whether you have good or bad domains. We have all the 5. It's just that which our preference. The same what kind of food we like to eat. So when we have that conversation, we are taking interpersonal risks in a safe environment to talk about, hey, this is my preference and this is what I want, what I like. And my brain feel very rewarding, very motivating when this domain is being met. But it also means that when this domain is not being met, I get triggered. I get very upset and stressed by it. So with that open conversation, we start to realize that sometimes the team members do not work well with us. It's not about we and them. It's about the brains, our brain's preference that create that. So with that open conversation, that will help the team to unveil and the team awareness, what's the next step forward? How can we avoid this? By understanding your safety domains, what do I need to take note of? How should I protect or take your safety needs into consideration? It's just that when you make decision, you don't just, let's say you're very high in autonomy and you don't really care much about security needs or people who want fairness and you just want to get things done fast, and now you become more mindful of being inclusive with people with a different safety preference. Yeah, so that's how I answer that question.
Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. And I'd like to point out something from what you said about inclusive or inclusivity. Ariva Academy, I was able to facilitate several seminars and workshops for this client of Ariva Academy. It's a multinational company, and they tried and they succeeded in upholding a culture of respect. And we have done a lot of seminars on diversity and inclusion, and it came to a point when everybody who comes in can wear whatever they want. Men wanting to wear women's clothes, women wanting to wear men's clothes. PWDs or people with disabilities or different abilities are welcome. Everybody can speak up respectfully. They have a common CR for everyone who would like to relieve themselves, and there's no judgment. And the way I see it, you mentioned about safety. Trust has become one of their strongest pillar by advocating respectful culture. And we were amazed. And we see how people become empowered. And that's a beautiful thing, Ma'am Jasmine.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing about that, the high-performing team. That's a high-performing team.
That's a high-performing team. Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. We also have a question from Emelinda Alana. If a leader is micromanaging, what is the best way to avoid conflict and call her attention that it is ineffective for her team members?
Yes, there's many ways to answer this question, but today we talk about psychological safety, right? So I explain in that context. First, I think when I share the 5 domains, perhaps you might have known what is that leader safety domain.
Okay.
I do not know the leader personally, and there's no way for me to give you a correct answer, accurate answer, but I sense that leaders who micromanage maybe are very concerned with security, because security need is for certainty. The brains like certainty, they like clarity, they like consistency. So when they micromanage, could be this way of leadership helps them to feel safe because I have awareness and control about what is certain, what is right, what is predictable, when I know everything is being done in the way I want. And I'm very sure this leader has very low autonomy. If she has high autonomy, she will not be micromanaging. She will be letting you to decide how to do it, but given the timing to submit, the results to achieve, and the resources that you need to manage. So this, from what I've seen here, from the behavior, it seems to be high need for security. Right? And of course, if you can do the profile, we can have a conversation with her.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Jasmine. From Christine Ada Gonzalez, how can we ensure psychological safety during online trainings?
Actually, it's very ironic. I've been doing a lot of virtual training for the past 2 months, and I've never met my participants face to face except on the virtual. but yet we felt much more connected. For me, I'm an introvert. Introvert people, I find that the virtual space seems to work well for us because the physical space, from the handshake, the face-to-face body language, sometimes gives us, we need more comfort, need more safety in us. So I thought that the online training psychology safety first, resetting the ground rules or the norms or house rules, because that is the baseline of the expected behavior for everyone to feel safe. And whenever I train in the virtual space, sometimes my participants attend the training. It's not their choice. They have to come because they're forced to come. And I always ask that question to them, that why are you here? What's your learning objective? Okay, to get them feel safe to speak up about their learning objective. And sometimes they really tell me, I do not want to come, I'm forced to come, or I still do not know my learning objective. But I felt as if we let them feel safe to share and we acknowledge it, and later on, when I actually acknowledge it, I know where you're coming from. Perhaps along the way, by this day to this program or 2 days program, you can find something that resonates with you. So I think that makes them feel safe, that there's nothing wrong if I speak up that I'm actually here, but I'm being sent and forced to attend training. And the other way I did for the start the training usually is to ask a question that's relatable to everyone. That means everyone can resonate. So for instance, like one of the common questions I ask in Singapore context is, what is one thing you learn or discover about yourself during this circuit breaker? Because we have not been working in the office for close to 2 months. So what is something that you learn or discover about yourself? And I can tell you, everyone in the virtual training speak up and share. And that brings connectivity. Although we are from diverse background, diverse companies, we all have a common point, which is that question. So I've answered that in the terms of doing online training. So
thank you, Jasmine. Anonymous attendee asks you this. Sometimes what is difficult is regulating oneself to protect others' psychological safety. How do we improve this?
So what is difficult in regulating oneself to protect others' psychological safety? First, are you winning? First is awareness, right? Next, after you're aware, are you willing to self-coach, self-reframe? Besides getting a coach to train you, self-regulate. So for me, before I know about psychology safety, I was actually very affected by unfairness. I do not know why I'm always so emotional, affected. It triggers me a lot, even to the not just a work setting, even personal life setting with friends. When things are treated, when people are not treated fairly, when things are not right, it does affect me. So when I went through this program, it was a huge change. I started to realize that, hey, not everybody wants fairness. Not everybody's the same as me, So there's nothing wrong with someone with a low fairness, and I have a high fairness, and I get so upset with someone with a low fairness. So I think most important is, after you know that we are all different, because we all have different safety domains, we start to be more open and receptive to the other party. It's about the rock that we are holding. Do you want to hold it for so long? It's time to let go. So I actually learned to let go. I start to realize that there's no need for me to expect the other party to high fairness, although that's very rewarding for me. Now I'm okay, because I know that you may have low fairness. It's fine, because we are not the same. So I answered that question about the...
Yes, thank you, Jasmine. I think the struggle is real when you try to change other people's personality and behavior. Which is why it's important for them to regulate the emotions. Self-restraint is, of course, in the Philippines right now, very important. And all affected by COVID-19. Anonymous attendee asks you this. How do you call attention to someone who is not participating at virtual meetings of our team?
So when
Where's that now? How do I call meetings of team while providing psychological safety?
Okay, so let me try to re-clarify the question. So how do you call attention to someone who is not participating at the virtual teams? Yes. So why is this person not participating at the virtual teams? What about in the past? Is he okay at the face-to-face meeting? If he's all along like that, right, then I think there's no difference. He's already engaged. But let's say he's very engaged in the face-to-face meeting, but disengage now in the virtual meetings, that means something is not right. Right? I think that's where you need to have a heart-to-heart conversation, one-on-one, not in a team setting. I think remember psychology safety has to feel safe, that my esteem is not being affected. One-on-one with the person to ask what's happening, to lay expectations, to ensure that this person is okay. So I think that's see whether is there a change of behavior before COVID when you work face to face and versus now when you work from home. Right. So I think that really requires you to have that one-to-one conversation with that person.
Yes. Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. From one anonymous attendee, what can I do to cope up with my anxiety in my everyday work from home?
Yeah, so first identify what is the brain domains you prefer. Right, the one that's rewarding to you, right, means that if your boss or your team members give that a lot to you, you feel less stress and less triggers. So for instance, if someone with high security, right, they would like their leader to give them more certainty, more directions, and also try to give me more clarity in what I'm doing, or even if can't, at least have a conversation to ensure me, right? So that's one thing, to know first what is your safety domain. And of course, that also means that if let's say you have high security and your leader don't give it to you, you create more stress to you.
Yeah.
And we always see this happen between a staff who has high security needs versus a leader with high autonomy. A leader with high autonomy will not give security. High security needs the attention, because high autonomy leader is I enjoy this autonomy, and I think that you can be able to manage yourself. I will give you the broad directions and results expected and timeline, and you can manage yourself. But you give to someone who has an employee who has high autonomy needs, he will enjoy it, because he finds that my boss is not micromanaging. He has a high trust and give me that leeway to be creative and decide, have a sense of control in what I'm doing. So I think it can be anything that triggers stress. You need to ask yourself which part of safety domains and that triggers because it's lacking from your leader or lacking from a team, and how would you use that conversation. If let's say you have no chance to give that conversation, maybe it's yourself. You have to reframe and start with your self-coaching, self-awareness.
Thank you. Now, I learned of my new boss informally, and this boss informed me of what I'll do via email together with other functional teams. The additional job is supposedly his job based on prior organization, but it becomes problematic. Is the way he delegated proper? Because I'm not happy with the way it is communicated.
That's right. So this shows that your needs, safety needs, which the safety needs, you rather than you mentioned the informal, right, and via email, perhaps your safety needs could be maybe esteem. You feel better if the supervisor has spoke to you face to face, give you the encouragement, and not just very cold, just an email, get this done, this is what's supposed to do. Right, so this shows that you are being triggered by one of the domain. Okay, you can, if you really want to find out more, you can email me to do your preference, but you should know what triggers you. It could be also fairness, because you feel so unfair that your supervisor never asks you for your opinions.
Yes.
And get you to do this when it's supposed to be his job. So it could be also you have very high need for fairness, and it's triggered when these things are not done properly, right? So this could be the key reason. And again, conversation with a supervisor, share safety domains. If it's not ready, he finds it's not mature enough, we have to start from ourselves. As what Howell has said, it's very difficult to change others. We have to learn to adapt and reframe ourselves. Yeah.
So fairness and esteem are this person's main
Fairness
concern in the
and esteem, I felt was from what the behavior that the person was describing. Yeah.
Thank
of course,
you.
the profile will be more accurate to know what they really are.
Thank you, ma'am. One anonymous attendee is asking you, how can I win the trust of my employees?
How can you win the trust of employees? I think that trust is a very big word. first is, are you willing to share? Okay, so psychology safety also is part about leaders. Leaders do not know all the answers. And it's nothing wrong for leaders to be vulnerable to share their problems, vulnerable to share that this may not be my strength. That's why I recruited you. I need you to be part of the team who has the strength to help me. So I think leaders can win trust by willing to share open disclosure, your concerns, your problems, your issues, and I think the staff will feel glad to solve because they may have other ideas, or this could be their strengths because no one has all the same strengths. And safety domains is a way to win trust because we are not here to look at everyone with judgment eye based on our colored lens, but knowing that we all crave for safety. It's been shown in neuroscience since tribal times. Social pain and physical pain are the same. Social rejection in the workplace is the same. And how can we nurture, be taken everybody's safety needs into consideration in our work, communication, decision making. So that builds trust, although we are different in our safety domains.
Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. From Maria Cristina Elauria, what does existing research show about how a team or department can thrive with psychological safety measures in place, team initiated, notwithstanding their organization's lack or absence of psychological safety measures?
It's a very good question. So Amy Emerson did her research in a team setting, not the organization setting. Organization setting is changing the culture. So we know that culture is made up of people, leaders, right? And people, even within teams, there's also subculture.
Yeah.
So you start from your teams first, right? Your teams, because it's easier and it's nearer to you, to build that psychological safety and promote this to more teams. When there are more teams, there's a ripple effect. When more teams are more aware about the importance of psychological safety, besides importance, the key is nurture. That's important. Cultivate. That's why my topic is on cultivate, right? That psychological safety. And cultivate is not immediately short run or just a short-term effort. It's the environment to allow this to grow. And we find that psychological safety can be very effective when leaders themselves believe and practice it. Right, so I have a conversation with one of my family members just a few days ago. I said, how come when your phone calls, teleconference with your bosses, come sometimes the staff can also disagree with the boss in the conversation, which I find is a bit different, from Asia, we respect our boss, we will not ask questions or challenge his views. And I asked my family member, why is that so? Because our purpose and the team norms or ground rules as a group, as a team, is we need to have diverse views so that our products can be better. Our intent is to be innovative. So innovation doesn't come with standard answers. It's about different ideas, and we can just try, experiment, and do, and not say taking the risk. So I thought that it's a very good way that the top leader, actually nurture it, despite his staff was asking questions and say, so-called boss, I don't agree what you say. I don't think it's possible. And in that conversation on virtual phone, I was quite surprised, but I think it seems to work in that the leader played that role very well.
So this has been the material of Amy Edmondson, right? Is she from Harvard or?
Yeah, Harvard Law School. She did a research on work teams. I think if you watch the YouTube videos, very amazed. She mentioned how sometimes at work we know something is wrong, but we did not speak up because we remembered the last time we speak up, we're being punished, ridiculed, or scolded. Or perhaps you felt that if I do it right, what my boss think? Maybe my boss would think that I'm not competent enough. I better keep myself.
So I'm glad that the team, for it to be highly functioning, is to have no fear, and they will not have fear speaking up if they are being respected. They can trust each other, and all the safety domains are there.
That's right. And also they know that why are we doing this?
And the intention of doing it.
Problems, yes, is because we are learning. It's a learning opportunity to prevent from happening, so that we can get better. And sharing problems, if there's psychology and safety in a team, sharing problems means punishment, scolding, fault finding. But in psychology safety space, that is not, because we want you to share so that we can do better.
I want that, the safety space
Safety
for
space.
everyone to really be productive.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, so Jocelyn Saklolo, how do we ensure that an employee will not get punished on his own opinions about his own group if the issue is within his internal team?
So let's say if you are the leader, you have the authority and empowerment to decide what to do. If the employee shared something, even a mistake, take this as a learning opportunity. So there's this saying I learned from one of the Singapore Chinese boss. Okay, I'll speak in Mandarin first and explain in English, but sometimes this is more meaningful in Mandarin. 对事不对人, which means when issues are being shared, look at the matter. It's about the issue, the objectivity, the factor. It's not about the personal attack.
Okay.
So the intent is to learn so that we can prevent this from happening, and others can also learn as part of knowledge sharing, knowledge management. However, if it's a repeated mistake, it's spiked, it's being coached, I think that would be an area of concern that requires being or other issues. It doesn't mean that psychology safety means our teams can always make mistakes, without any answerable accountability. That's not the intent. Psychology safety is not about being nice. It's about being authentic, when you share problems, but learning and preventing it from happening. So that's what it means.
Thank you, ma'am. From Raynan Joe Ganir. Can employee work in manufacturing plant as machine operator and work as delivery rider after his shift during COVID-19?
Okay. This question may not relate to psychological safety, but I think many of us are taking multiple roles now, perhaps due to the financial constraint or difficulties being met. But first ask yourself, okay, maybe this is an employee issue, right? Taking many months. I believe in Philippines you have an employment law and act. But in Singapore, we are open recently that employers should be allowing their staff to work in another company if it's downside for them.
Okay.
Like now we know the high demand will be healthcare, social distancing, ambassador, and then recently we just launched this few days the digital ambassador to teach our elderly senior people how to use digital devices. And you can notice COVID-19 digitalization is the peak now. The catalyst is COVID-19. Right? So that's where some companies, like in the airline industry, in the tourism, in the hotel, where there is no demand for their business, some employers actually work with other companies and other industries to allow their staff to work there temporarily. And I thought that was great. It's an exchange of resources and talents. We have our cabin crew at SIA working in healthcare, working at social distancing, because down current there's no job, or that totally there's no flights at this moment. Right? So rather than a waste of talent and manpower, they put to good use, put yourself into good talents and learn something differently. So I think that is really a humane way if currently we have no jobs for them, but can deploy them to work elsewhere.
Okay, so Raynan Joe Ganir, if you feel like your safety is being compromised, you can choose to either protect yourself and look for another job, or do your job safely wherever you are now. In the Philippines, ma'am, we are looking for 9,000. We have 9,000 vacancy, 9,000 people who will be contact tracers. Because we don't have the technology to do it. We have physical contact tracers of COVID-19 patients. So all over the Philippines, 9,000 people will be deployed to be face-to-face with COVID-19 patients and contacts. And that's an opening right now. And that's high risk, high paying. But then again, it's up to you. Is money more important than safety?
That's right. Or maybe share some concerns, what can be done to prevent this and make sure there's more safety measures.
Sure. Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine, and thank you, Rain and Joe, for that question. Anonymous attendee, just 2 more questions on Jasmine before we go. What should one do when they live or work in an environment that disregards psychological safety? Thank you for this webinar, Ms. Jas.
Yes, I think if it's always a problem that's quite some time, is it because of a leader or is it the organization
And,
culture?
and if it's the living space, it could be their cohabitats. And
Yeah, it could be the environment, right? The leader, as I mentioned, the leaders set the tone for psychological safety. They play a very key role model. Like when I was in HR, every time I look at very enthusiastic new people joining the company, but they get very disengaged after a few months. And I wonder why. Because every time when they share ideas, the leaders maybe ask them more questions, critical questions, or mention that since you share more, you do it. So after a while, why should I do it? I just shut up my mouth,
yeah.
right? Plays a very key role. Are you rewarding people who speak up, share ideas and problems, or you're punishing them, right? So that's the parenting. We set the role model, a signal from our behavior and our decisions. And of course, the culture is the next thing, right? I think it's time for change, really huge change.
It is.
Just like now in COVID-19, you will see the way we lead will be very different. We require more people to be involved, diverse views, and with the cyberspace nowadays, you hear more psychological safety people dare to speak up in the cyberspace, right? In the social media. The younger generation, definitely, there is no fear. They want to contribute. They want to have a voice, right? And I think that's where in Philippines or everywhere in Singapore, any countries, we are going to have a multi-generation workforce. The younger groups are coming in, taking up leaders' role, or even as your employees, they have different families, parenting style, different kind of school exposure. So psychological safety means that every employee from every level of the organization can contribute ideas. Traditionally, we think it's only the top leaders, the best departments, or the brightest cream of the crop are the ones with brilliant brains that can contribute ideas. And the rest, they're just followers or just note takers. But I think psychological safety is everyone in every level, they can contribute. They have their own perspective and experience. So I think that COVID-19 is going to be a watershed in the way how the world is going to be. We all feel unsafe now, not just in Asia, everywhere it's really unsafe, and how organizations and leaders is going to be.
Thank you, Jasmine. And for your last question,
Sure.
how can we reach our goal as a team member if we can experience anxiety and stress during work from home?
That's right. One of my slides I mentioned, right? The social distancing, being alone at home, where you do not feel connected is a trigger. Perhaps from this participant, which I look at the behaviors, the need is the trust need is very high.
Yeah.
The need to feel connected, because we are all social animals, and some of us thrive very well in trust. For me, trust is not my high need. My high need is fairness. I'm okay to work alone. But for certain people, they felt that, I'm actually very stressed. But if I have my network of my bosses and my colleagues having check-in conversations with me regularly, encouraging each other, right, I feel less stressed and able to cope. So just last month, I did a virtual empathy circle with the employees in the team. And it's so interesting to hear the topic was about COVID-19, that what can we appreciate about during these tough times. Although it's tough, what's something that we can appreciate, right? And some of them actually shared, one of them shared actually cried, and the rest of team members, when they shared their personal stories, they also cried. And I thought it was very powerful because that, although we may not have met each other face to face, we can still connect in the virtual space. And takeaway is they start to realize that I'm not alone, right? And we are all facing the same problems. There's more empathy. So while you being alone, thinking that am I the only one feeling so stress and anxiety, is not. Perhaps a connection to the virtual space at the meeting. Don't straight away go into work discussion. Have a check-in question like what I did just now, asking them, so what is something that you're grateful for during this difficult period, right? And you can notice the power, the energy of the conversation is very different. And once one people shared, it's a ripple effect, virtual connection, that they start to realize that I'm not alone. And I began to know you better, and we can be more collaborative because we used to be competitive. Right now, we know that we need to work together in question, like what I did just now, asking them to adapt to the situation. So what is something that you're more resilient during this difficult to be more high performing or value creating at this time? Can notice the power, the energy. So I answered the conversation.
Thank you, Jasmine, for 1.5 years. 1.5 hours. It felt like 1.5 years. 1.5 hours of
they start to realize that I'm not alone.
Informative
and
session,
I began to know
Q&A.
you better.
So everybody put your hands together for Jasmine. Jasmine,
for
for the last minute of our show, of our webinar, we call it the takeaway. What do you want us to think about tonight before we go to sleep?
That's right. Yeah, so the takeaway, as I mentioned, right, you can contact Ariva Academy if you are interested to know about how to conduct a safety workshop in the virtual space. Or in my email, I'm going to write in my chat box, right? I'm going to write here. So let's say if you are interested to try out the free profile, okay, which is to understand what is the most highest safety domain, you can drop me an email and then we can connect through a coaching session, especially for leaders and managers to understand about yourself and your team members.
So that's Jasmine at Breakthrough Catalyst. Okay, that one. Thank you, Jasmine, and everybody. Put your hands together. Hope to see you in person soon, Jasmine.
Yes, hopefully I met you last round in Philippines for our conference face to face.
Our Philippine HR Congress. We met last year, so hope to see you again this year.
That's right. Sure.
Because in October, Pfizer and Sanofi, I believe, are among the two pharmaceutical companies who promise to offer the vaccine for COVID-19. And we pray that in October will all happen.
Yes, thank you so much. So we'll end the chat. And thank you all for your webinar chat. I see lots of encouragement. Thank you so much. And hopefully we can also connect again virtually or face-to-face in the
Connect
future,
again,
right?
And meet again face-to-face.
Yes.
At the SMX Convention Center.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you.
See you.
All the best. See you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we're being flooded by thank yous and messages of gratitude. Thank you so much, Ms. Irish Malonda Samson. What a way to start the month of June. The first day of June being Monday and talking about cultivating the psychology safety for virtual teams during difficult times.
Yes, Sir Howell. I agree with our participant, Ms. Maria Asuncion Cruz. It has been a very informative session from Coach Jasmine. And in behalf of Ariva Academy, thank you so much for sharing with us your insights, your learnings about the psychological safety.
Thank you so much, Ms. Iris.
Let's ask our participants what are their takeaways, point of views with regards to our session this afternoon.
Okay, so for our live stream, YouTube live stream participants and Zoom room participants, type in your takeaway. My takeaway is that of the safety domain, I am a high trust person. I don't just welcome people in my life. I have to trust them before I let them in. So that's why I don't have tons of friends, but I have just a few friends, and you're one of them.
Wow, thank you. I was honored. Thank you so much.
I can only let a few people into my life, people I trust. And thank you, Jasmine, for that.
Yes. So while we're waiting for the takeaways from our participants, mine is, of course, learnings about social rejection and physical pain. Pain has the same effect, of course. And well, my point of view is that I think in any platform, maybe it's whether it's virtual or face to face, as long as the connection will be has good intention, pure intentions, with heart and concern to your team, I think psychological safety will be there. And
wonderful.
Definitely what they call this, will definitely engage your team.
agree with you 100%, Madam Irish Malonda Samson.
Okay, let's read the takeaways from Ms. Beeper Garcia. Hi, Ms. Beeper. Mine is the importance of knowing thyself on the part of the leader and on the team members. Thank you with that, Ms.
Wow,
Beeper.
thank
Okay.
you. And Melchor Cordova, Sir Melchor, thank you, Irish Howl and Ariva Academy. Every Ariva Academy webinar is a rewarding experience.
Thank you. From Lot Chuan, the safety model. Okay, that's
See,
a
everybody
staple.
love it. Everybody loves
Thank you
it.
so much for being with us today. And we hope that you will be able to somehow apply it with your own organization, with your company. And of course, Sir Howell, thank you so much for being with us in this afternoon.
Always
And
a pleasure, Miss Irish, our dear
I will be
president.
seeing you tomorrow afternoon
Yes,
again, sir.
tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you and see you. Bye bye. Okay. For our viewers, please stand by because I have a lot to announce still. We would like to thank our following win-win partners. We would like to thank our official media partner, Art Plus Magazine, digital media partners, Focus Media, Globaltronics, City Advertising Ventures, Outcom, Elevate Media. For major sponsors, Pacific Cross Philippines, thank you. For win-win partners, thank you, brother, Faber-Castell, Gluta-C, Moringa O2, KFC, Mr. Donut, Tokyo Tokyo, Lotus Biscuit, Boss Job. Thank you as well to Sir Technology Inc., Finma Properties, Salary Jet, Ilawi Korea, Kitosan and Carpo Consulting, Enchanted Kingdom, Disperse, Cosmetech Philippines Inc., MindChomp's virtual preschool program. To register, please call them at 0906-486-0710 or email them at disakanabe@mindchomps.org. And if you want to place your ads here, advertise your company, services, and logo, have a brand exposure to thousands of viewers through Zoom, LinkedIn, FB, and YouTube, please email us at marketing@ariva.com.ph. To stay on top of our insights and updates, please stay connected. Visit us on our social media sites, join the Ariva Academy Facebook group, like the Ariva Academy Facebook fan page, follow the Ariva Academy LinkedIn page, and visit us on our website. It's www.ariva.com.ph. And if you want to watch the replay of our e-learning session this afternoon and our previous e-learning sessions, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so that you will be notified on our future e-learning sessions. For our upcoming online learning sessions, please visit our website. It's www.ariva.com.ph to register. And we would like again to invite you on our live webinar series for across the HR Virtual Summit page 2020. We have invited international and local subject matter experts. Our session with Coach Jasmine Liew is one of the part series of this HR Virtual Summit PH. This will be tomorrow. Don't forget to register. June 2, 3 to 4:30 p.m. Selling Under Fire, Secrets of Proactive Selling in a Crisis. And this will be discussed by none other than Coach MJ Tolan from United States. Transformations through growth mindsets, learning and thriving through challenges. This is a live webinar series for us, and this will be on Wednesday, June 3. This will be discussed by none other than Mr. Eric Riego de Dios. Coach with Acts, of course, we will be joined by none other than Coach May Soriano. This will be on Tuesday next week, June 9. Don't forget to register 3 to 4:30 p.m. Another live webinar series for a cause, how to connect with clarity and confidence, building community in times of uncertainty and isolation. This will be discussed by none other than Coach Kerry Pips from Australia, and this will be on Wednesday, June 10. Don't forget to register. Another e-learning masterclass from none other than Mr. Jonathan Yabut, how to manage the millennials in the workplace. This will be on Tuesday, June 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. Another e-learning masterclass from Mr. Jonathan Yabut, Work Smart, Not Just Hard, how to boost your productivity at work. This will be on Wednesday, June 17. Don't forget, June 17, 4 to 6 p.m. E-learning masterclass, prospecting, cold calling, telephone sales, and closing the deal. This will be on Thursday, June 18, 3 to 5 p.m. And we will be having Mr. Chris Randall to discuss this session. Another e-learning masterclass from Mr. Jonathan Yabut. This is the second batch of our online selling from home, how to use FB, IG, and LinkedIn for your business. This is very timely, guys. Please do join us on Wednesday, June 24, 4 to 6 p.m. And if you want to customize an e-learning session for your team, have an exclusive session for your company, please do call me at 0916-695-4418. We can customize an e-learning session for you. And please don't forget to email me at irish.arivaacademy@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Hope to see you again tomorrow. Hope that you learn a lot with this session. Again, this is Irish Malonda Samson in Ariva. It's all about being better. Be safe, guys. Thank you so much and have a great day.